Well, here we are. Welcome to the meeting.
Yes, well, very good to be in this wonderful meeting. So how are you?
Not bad. Not bad. Tired. Long day. Running all over the place, and traffic kept me from getting back in. Well, they usually have their dinner a little earlier, but it wasn't that much later. And I'm looking over. I see the food bowls are empty, so the food has been eaten.
Oh, that's good. I'm not planning to
They snack so well when I'm here.
Right.
And I've been told spoil them. Spoil them. That's part of my job description.
Animals should be spoiled. I have Reginald here. He's decided to supervise the meeting.
Yes.
Oh,
Something happened.
Something happened. Where? When? What?
I don't know. We have so many alerts and things going on in our lives, so many different electronics. It's very odd keeping track.
I'm busy deleting everything off my phone so I can stop getting all the alerts, because this is too much. What's happened is I've stopped even watching any of my alerts because there's just so many. It's just like, no. It's been a very, very busy week, actually, in the Imaginarium. I think that a lot of people are being very, very busy at the moment.
The infamous Imaginarium? It's even better than the alternate Imaginarium.
Is that what I said? Did I say infamous? I don't
infamous. Welcome to the... We're a slightly different Imaginarium. When Roberta and I are here, it becomes the infamous Imaginarium. Gets a little fashy, but I'm sure you guys can cope.
Roberta and I. Blimey.
Roberta and I are going to discuss the...
Roberta and I. Right.
I was in the... It is. It's all about us. And of course, when I say us, I mean me. But enough about me. What do you think of my latest work?
So Mike isn't around. He's busy doing his business, I guess.
Yes, I'm very impressed. That is a great example of how you go forward on a path, and then you see other opportunities, and you don't just pass them by. Mm-hmm. What is it? Luck is what? Opportunity meeting preparation. And in his case, the preparation. That's only when somebody says, "Hey, how come you got a skate job like that? Get me a skate job." I said, "I've known these people for years. I've been working in this field for years. I've been helping out, coming in, and when they suddenly needed someone, they said, 'Hey, you'd be good at this.'" Yeah. That's how I got this skate job, by really working my ass off, developing, and not even consciously, but you develop as you go through life, networks and people. You become aware of things, and a big part of it is, I have found, being willing to help out, being willing to lend a hand, just stepping right in if asked. But at the same time, we were talking about this, I think, last night, where if I'm not asked, I tend not to do anything. There's one thing I found out on work sites: if you just like pitch in, unless it's something like pulling a rope or something dumb, you can really screw things up. So I'm like, what do you need me to do? And then, and then I stand still until someone says, "Hey, give me a hand with this." And especially because I recognize, I don't always know the technical aspects of something. When I first started doing this, one of the things we use are these very complicated wood and canvas A-frame tents. And I'm more than happy to help someone set up their tent, but I have no idea how. Well, nowadays I do, but when I first started going, it's like a jigsaw, like a Chinese. You got to fit slot A into this tab B and stuff like that. So
yes, indeed.
Yeah.
It's a delicate balance. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Mike has developed, found something. Again, he's gone along his path. He's seen a really nice option and a new opportunity, and he very, very, very fortunately seized it. And and it's something that he can approach not just with hope, but with confidence, because he knows the job and he knows the people. And no, I'm very impressed, and I'm very glad. This could turn out to be something really well. If he could have you never know, he could become a major contractor or something, a subcontractor for these facilities. And it doesn't hurt when you've got the clearances, which are, it's not that difficult to get I used to have a secret clearance. It's not that big a deal, but you do have to pass a certain amount of scrutiny. And as he pointed out, it's a lot better to keep your clearance, up to snuff. But just because you have a secret clearance, you don't actually. It's actually they call it compartmentalization. Everything is compartmentalized. So even if you've got like a secret or a top secret, whatever clearance you've got, doesn't mean that they're going to let you see anything. It's really so. But on the other hand, it does give them a minimum safety thing. They know that you're going to be a safe and worthwhile person.
I was just thinking about when you were talking, when you were saying how important it is to be willing to help. I was just thinking about the stories that he writes. The Ember stories. Okay, here we go. I have got his stories on Wattpad. Right? Mm-hmm. One of the sort of the features of his stories is the willingness of the man to help.
Yeah.
It's sort of always, there's always that recurrent theme of how can I help you? What can I do? And then the laughing and smiling, and then the pleasantness, the sort of And it's so interesting how you point out that element of his real life is something that's so predominantly or prominently reflected in his actual writing.
Well, I think, I often say it, I think we're here to help each other.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little more complicated than that, and I think there's an instinct, there's an inner part of us that wants to help, that likes to help. And, when I started with this, I'm not a very social person, but I remember when I first became part of this reenactment group, recreation group, although sometimes it's more of a recreation group than a recreation group. It was, people there. It's a very safe place to be. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, in this world, unfortunately, when you help, very often you're hurt, and there are penalties for helping, like the man that gets up from the table. Even though lives might be in danger, nobody else is like, well, yeah, they might die, but I'll lose my gold. Kind of deal. So. But when you're in a smaller closed group and there's already a certain amount of stability, then you don't have to worry about that so much. And also people, I've always talked about I'd rather be a big fish in a little pond, because that's how you get noticed. Mm-hmm. And people will notice that behavior. But even in the real world, where so often it's punished, we become nuanced in how we help, and we're careful about it. There's times when we simply can't because it's beyond our capability. There's times when we know that help will actually probably make things worse. There's times when we know that we're not really allowed to help. It'll hurt us too much. And, the Buddha talked about the importance of generosity. This is central to Buddhism, and not just, generosity with, things like, food or clothing or money or stuff like that, but generosity with your time, generosity with your patience, generosity with your understanding. But an important point is that your generosity should be harmless, and it should especially not be harmful to you. You shouldn't give till it hurts. You have to help people in a way that's sustainable, I guess you'd say these days. So as we go through life, we have to make choices, which are not always pleasant. But in a smaller group that's already had a certain amount of selection and filtering and stuff, you're able to indulge in this more, and where people are very, if you're in a group of people who are always quite willing to say, hey, can you give me a hand with that? In the knowledge that someone will say, yeah, I'll be glad to, and be more than happy to help someone else because they've helped you a lot, and you're going to help them a lot. It's really a place where we can indulge. I mean, we do the Middle Ages. Really, it's a timeless kind of way of living. And a lot of the people that get involved with the group, and I've heard them talk about the feeling of family, the feeling of this, I think it's just the feeling of being in a community of people that you can trust up to a certain point. And a lot more than, IRL kind of deal.
Yes, indeed, yes. And it takes time, doesn't it? It takes time to build that.
Yeah. We're going to have, I think it's going to be the 40th anniversary of the group, 45th anniversary of the group. And to this day, there's a lot of struggles. One of the most interesting things, and also the most boring things, is the the meetings we have 4 times a year to legislate rules and laws for the group. And man is the political animal. And not just men, but actually some of the women are some, the last thing, I won't go into details, but, female members of the group stood up and were arguing over fine points of law for hours, literally. I haven't heard a 20-minute debate on whether we should get another porta potty. We just love it. But there's also that safety. You can do this stuff, but it's still at the end of the day, everybody's in the group kind of deal. So it's a good place to be able to, because again, we really want to help. And we really want to, I'm convinced of this, and it's someplace where you can help. You don't have to worry about it. You say, yeah, I can give a hand to people.
Tell me more about it, Otto. Tell me, how did it start, the group that,
that was way before me.
Yeah.
But it started way, way back in the day. I wish I had some of the guys here to talk about it, Grey Cloak or someone. As far as I know, it basically started off as a medieval reenactment group, and it was very serious, more serious about like historic detail. And this was at a time when everybody involved was much younger, like in their 20s. And a lot of what they were into it for was the fighting. They do, today I think they call it HEMA, Historical European Martial Arts. But what they do is, it's an American thing. It's the SCA style fighting, which uses rattan swords. It's basically like single stick. If you know what single stick is, it's a big bit of rattan, but everything else is period. So you wear armor, and there's like minimum safety requirements and stuff. It's all been come up with. There's a scoring system and things like that, helmets, and these guys were all into that. And I got pictures stashed away somewhere on my hard drive of these guys when they were like very young and doing this stuff. And it was young men, and for the most part, although their wives and girlfriends were involved too. As time went on, children started appearing. People got older, so the nature of the group kept getting a little bigger, and people were still involved. And some of the younger guys were coming up and fighting, but it's really hard. In fact, that was one of the subjects of our last meeting, is getting more young people involved, and the young people who are involved, doing more for them to encourage them in it. Because, although some young people are involved and some people's kids are involved, the group is dwindling through just the attrition of age. Yeah. So,
well,
but yes,
post-COVID society has cut back quite significantly on social interaction, I think, and there are new pushes now for people to get back out of your houses and touch the grass. And
we have plenty of people at our events and everything. It's just the age thing. The groups stayed pretty large. During lockdowns, there were fewer get-togethers, obviously, and it unfortunately divided the group in a way I hadn't seen before, because they made these strictures, and we don't need to go into detail about this sort of thing, but obviously things were done to us that divided our society, and this was done deliberately by the establishment. And unfortunately, some people took the bait. Me, if you're autistic enough, you're pretty immune to the government propaganda. They're not going to make me hate this guy or love this guy or do this or not do that. I can think for myself, thanks. But a lot of people listen, and mostly what you're told by the establishment is to make you frightened, so you can't think well. And we had a lot of frightened people in the group, and it was very difficult for the frightened people to talk to the non-frightened people, and we kind of separated. And then there were some political things, and the politics, people are all political persuasions. I've never ever seen it be much of a thing. It's kind of like I talk about the band, back with Hungry Jack. We had like 6 guys in the band. I'm sure we voted for 6 different people in 2016. Nobody really cared.
Yeah.
That wasn't what we were doing, and it about it, but it never caused any kind of dissension or anything. And we always had this is a very old thing, and I think in America and any kind of a representative democracy, is that who you vote for and what your political ideas are secondary to your social life and living, and politics has nothing to do with or should have nothing to do with the food you eat, where you live, how you raise your children, what church you want to go to, or if you don't want to go at all, or if you want to be a pagan or a Buddhist or a Catholic or a Lutheran. But unfortunately, I think they've been trying to politicize everything, and I never really saw much of that in the group. And now that the very divisive and polemical kind of rhetoric that was coming out has died down, I think a lot of people, things are settling again in the group as far as that goes. Mm-hmm. And we're back to not caring and just, I just want to sit with this person and sing a song and have a horn of meat or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it helps a lot because you think in terms of the Middle Ages.
Right.
You're not thinking about, a current political thing. The governor did this, and we have to do that, and this state senator did this, and this county clerk. You hear that all day in any place you live. People complain. Yeah. None of that there because we're in the Middle Ages. Okay, it's like.
It's so interesting. That's a real example of how the mind comes first. Hey, you're in the Middle Ages, so you're there being what you are, taking almost a break from reality, if you like. Yeah.
Well, I was joking because I was at the Earls meeting, which is the meeting for the officers, right. And one of the things they do is they go over the minutiae of the law, the law for the group, and. So I'm going. I went to attend I go to the Earls meeting once. So you don't have to be a Jarl to go. Anyone that's. And I know all these guys. These are all friends of mine. So they're like, "Hey, we're doing the Earls meeting this weekend. Come on down." Oh yeah, sure. I think I sent you pictures from one. Yes. So they start talking about the rules, and they're like, and of course our period is like 10th century Icelandic, basically. Mm-hmm. And Iceland's interesting because Iceland really was the first democracy. I think in Europe, if you count Iceland as part of Europe. Mm-hmm. And they had a very interesting and complicated set of laws that, and I think I've talked about this before, their main purpose was to reduce bloodshed and violence. Mm-hmm. They had all left Scandinavia to get away from the centralization of government. So they were basically minarchists. Each farm basically ran itself. And so anyway, I don't know, I'll go on about like Icelandic law. But the thing is, it was a very complicated system. They had a series of judges, and they had like courts that you could take a case to. Mostly, the main thing they dealt with wasn't criminal stuff so much. Mm. Families dealt with that a lot of the time, so they could deal with criminal stuff. But having to do with like boundary disputes or wergeld, or if there was a fight, someone was killed. All right, we're not going to start a feud. Let's go take this to court. You owe us this for the death of this person. It was a way to avoid violence. So I went to the Earls meeting, and I'm thinking, I'm refreshing my thought. Well, in 1895 they made this decision about a legal case, and no, they're talking about very modern issues, and very just because even though we're thinking about the Middle Ages, we're 21st century people, and have a lot of 21st century issues. So.
Otto, while you were talking about community and division, we were talking a little bit earlier about Satori D and his wonderful project that he's in. Let me see if I can share this with you. This amazing and incredible project that Satori D is involved in. Another member of the MTCG community, and he has produced these visuals and put together all the advertising, and is going to be responsible for all the videos that's going to be playing at this concert, that all these really prominent people. So interesting. But while we were talking about that, you mentioned that they had. What were you saying that had happened? They've been banned? They've been ostracized by something?
No. They lost a grant.
Oh, they lost a grant.
It was on
They've lost a grant.
Somebody else is getting it instead. This is the short version that I saw. I'm sure Satori could go into greater detail.
Oh, okay.
But apparently they were counting on a grant or a grant they got before, And apparently now, from what the letter, that the grant was now focusing on other things.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm barking
yeah.
on the wrong tree.
So I don't think they were banned because of what they do. I think it's more like they didn't fit whatever pigeonhole that the bureaucrats picked this year. This is trouble with government patronage of the arts. I really think I much prefer. There's a gentleman I work with occasionally, and I'm not going to mention his name because he's rather prominent. But he is a private individual I've seen do more to help artists. This guy invested. I think he backed. He was an angel investor, if you like. He backed a Hungry Jack festival, and we were able to hire Michael Graves, whom you probably don't know who that is, but he's a pretty big name in some circles. Big name performer. He was with the Misfits, and he lost like better than $3,000 on it. That's what he'll do for artists. We had this huge all-day festival. We had sideshow acts. We had music. We had a headliner. And he lost like $3,500, and it was like, but yeah, this guy has done more for the arts, and just he has a venue he's got set up now where he does these events in the summer, and he's got like 2 stages, and he's just purchased a building that he's turning into a 3rd stage for use with original music only original music on that area, and this is just this guy. This is not the city, this is not the county or the state or the federal government, it's not the NEA. This is just hooking up with a patron of the arts. They do still exist, and that is a lot more reliable than going to a government agency and filling out all these forms and like, are you the right gender, are you the right color, are you presenting the right thing? Oh, this year we're not doing impressionism anymore, we want bold surrealism, or no more bold surrealism that we want. You don't fit our pigeonhole. This guy, I went up to him and talked to him and he said, okay, that was the extent of the application. And that's the way I like to work. That really is.
Yeah.
So, and I would suggest that they look around for people like that. They do exist. You can, Monty Python's Flying Circus, when they made the movie Monty Python and the Holy Grail, that was largely funded, I believe, by Pink Floyd, the band Pink Floyd. Shelled out a lot of money for that. Yeah, they didn't have any money to make a movie that big. And I think some other rock groups were involved too, but people that just like the stuff and they'll shell out to support something they like. So.
Wow, how interesting. There's all sorts of interesting stuff. Otto?
Yes.
Should I go over to the Discord group, the Steal the Singularity Discord group, and mention that? Because
mention what?
There is this thing that Satori is doing on being involved in this concert with all these people, which is pretty amazing.
It is. It's very
good.
good.
A community with people that, this guy here that he's working with, who's asked him to be involved.
I saw him at a Subgenius event.
Yeah, you said you did.
Yeah, his name is kicked around. Yeah, he hung out with him.
It must be such a fun thing to be involved in. When you he says that he got into the project, he made a joke about something. Anyway, So now he's got a whole Discord group, they're setting up a game, they're doing all sorts of things.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, I like their stuff on X once in a while, but I have a feeling they see my X posts and want as little to do with me as possible.
Well, everybody's got different points of view. Like you said, does it really matter if you're in the arts and you're working together?
I'm a righto leftist. If you look at my stuff, I'm posting their stuff and I'm posting stuff from Zero Hedge, and it's like, I like a lot of stuff all over the place. And it's very hard to nail me down. It's very difficult to nail me down. But it's interesting, and it's anytime you're like third position, it's like people on the right tend to think that I'm a lefty. People on the left tend to think I'm a righty, and they just don't understand third position at all. Which is like, no, neither. But when you're between them, and not really between them, you're above them, because between them you're still on the spectrum. You're above them, but they're looking that way, and they see you there to their left or to their right, and that's what they assume you are. But they don't see the other. They don't realize that you've got elevation. It's like flatland. They can only conceive of something in two dimensions. It is kind of funny sometimes. But I think what's going to be very interesting is that our new Pope, I'm pretty sure, is something of a third positionist. He named himself after the last Pope we had by that name actually issued, what was it, Rerum Novarum? I forget the name, where he lays out what is basically what I would consider to be a third position socio-political philosophy, economic policy. And this was the basis of distributionism or distributism that Hilaire Belloc and G.K. Chesterton were great. And there are still, people pushing this. It's the third position that I find most congenial myself when you look at all the different third position philosophies, which have their good and bad points. And most of the ones that came to prominence in the early 20th century, unfortunately, were collectivist. The idea that instead of having one giant like Kmart or Walmart or whatever you've got, you have hundreds of smaller stores. The Amish are kind of like that. I think like 90% of Amish people own their own business. And they grow their business up to a point of, I read somewhere, to about worth $200,000, and then they stop because they want other people to have a chance to have some business in that community too.
Talking of community, Otto, shall we get back to the MTCG community?
Certainly.
So Do Better is leaving on the 17th for his great bicycle tour right up the East Coast. So he had to go back home and he had to get some repairs done to his bicycle and his stuff because he hadn't done it before, so he didn't know. And so he's off on his great big promotional tour. And I think on this Saturday he has an interview with a YouTuber. They're going to sort of do some collaboration together and maybe promote each other, and so I'm hoping that's going to go, that's going to be an interesting thing for us, another interesting thing.
Yes, very much so.
On the MTCG to follow. Because that's quite a thing for a person to do. To cycle from Florida up to Maine. How do people get these ideas? And then, once he's done that, as if that isn't enough, he's going to ship his bicycle home and walk south through the Appalachians on the Appalachian Trail.
Oh, the Appalachian Trail,
home on foot.
Nice. Well, you definitely, if you're hiking the Appalachian Trail that far, you definitely want to keep in touch with people so they can bring you food and supplies on the way down. You cannot carry enough yourself for that whole trip.
Yeah.
So there'll be the internet will help him with logistical issues, certainly.
Yes. Well, we are wanting
cool.
to get we are wanting to do sponsorships and
people that'll help a lot.
Yeah. And
he can meet people along the trail and then do a little show with them, and then we'll talk with them and talk about what he's doing and talk to them. That'd be cool.
It would be cool, wouldn't it? Yeah. And we could even have him on the show to check in with us and tell it what is it like to bicycle all the way through.
Yeah, we should have him do regular updates.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That'd be cool. Do like a little segment.
Indeed. Like Within was suggesting we did a meme segment. There's some interesting Pope memes. We should have maybe brought some of those along. Otto, Pope memes. Maybe I should find some Pope memes. Maybe.
They're all over the place now, I'm sure.
Did you see what Within posted earlier?
Where?
In the Infinite Imaginarium. Posted a very fascinating thing that I have not looked at, but let me see if I can pull it up here. Let's ask this what it says. Okay. Alright. Speaking to me in Spanish. No, please translate.
Logo means node.
This node might be designed to simulate symbolic symbolic activity or initiate automated interactions with the chat server.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I thought it was different. So, the thing that I wanted to mention was his project.
Oh, it's a mandala. It's got a play button. San Pedro.
Okay, well, this is his project. Yeah,
Nice.
and you can see that it's his number 64, it says, with 2,700 votes. Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah. So if he's number 64, that implies that there are numbers 1 through 63.
And more, I believe. I believe there are many different projects. Can you see?
Yeah, I see a bunch of...
Hold on, let me see that. Yeah. So all the different people submit their different projects, and then their supporters vote for them, right? And then depending on how much support they get, they are then curated to receive funding.
B, is that Satori?
This is no. Let it be. I don't think so. No, I think this.
Oh, it's a woman thingy. Yeah.
It's a different project. Yes.
It's like radical feminism or something.
I don't think it's radical feminism. I think that it's a woman who is a beekeeper, a regenerative apiculture project.
Oh, apiculture. I need new glasses. I thought it said acupuncture for a minute.
No. Apiculture. So yes, isn't that lovely? With indigenous wisdom and yeah.
Actually, whoever did this is quite bright because those are all exactly the pigeonholes people want now, and it's very short, one sentence, no TLDR. So hopefully they will do well. Yes. They have a good presentation anyway.
This is a nicely laid out site for fundraising. They have these you asked several different questions, and you have about 250 characters within which to answer the question. So it's really, the elevator pitch.
Yes.
But then it depends on your followers. Your followers vote for you, and the top people in the fund are then, the fund is distributed between the top projects that were voted for, and then this organization called Artisan matches whatever funding you can raise for your project. So your voters then, the people who vote for you and support you, each donate $10 or $15, whatever it is, And whatever is donated by your supporters, Artisan matches. So you end up getting twice as much as was donated to you by your supporters.
Nice.
So you can see that there are quite a few projects here.
Yeah. So the odds of actually making it are very low.
Which is why Within's project is so awesome. I mean, he's right up there. What did you say it was? 66?
64.
64?
Song when I'm 64. When I get older, losing my hair, many, not that many years from now.
The little video that he has there, that I played for you that snippet of earlier, I think those visuals are generated by Satori D.
Oh, very nice.
But the music is all from Within's spontaneous jam sessions.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. So there are a lot of them, as you can see.
There sure are.
There are a lot of people wanting money, but there are not that many people offering the money. So the competition is fairly fierce. And if you look down here, there are projects that have had 2 votes, or 69 votes, or 177 votes.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to put a project up for funding, but it's a completely different kettle of fish when you are looking for, actually.
Well, that's it. When you've got hundreds and hundreds of things, you've got to narrow your audience. Like that bee woman there is like, it's succinct. The bee lady, she's got succinct. She's got all the right pigeonholes filled, all the right buzzwords, and it's minimalist. So, because most people don't like to read very much. Most people can't read very well, but they'll go through that. They'll see the words that they know make them virtuous to support it, and then they'll boom. Unfortunately, it's not about the artist so much anymore as what the artist says. It's a pity, but on the other hand, when you've got like 1,000 people to look at, you've got to get their attention somehow, and then hopefully your art will carry it on once they will give you a chance. I think that's what most artists want, is a chance for people to just look at my stuff. And like, all these people, how can you look at everything?
Yes.
It's tough.
Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, so this is, I think, the last one of the MTCG community that we're going to talk about today. This is the one that you and I are busy trying to work on, which is the radio drama. This is sort of really much a family project, I think. And I don't know if we're going to get anywhere with the actual fundraising.
I always wanted to start a charity or like a grant program or something.
Oh, you did? Well, you can.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a great gig to get into, like, supporting the arts if you can do it the right way.
Well, this is the opportunity, because as well as having, goodness, I have an echo.
Really?
This is the thing that I was checking when I was trying to ask the MTCG community about the other day. Should we apply to launch our own community fund? It seems to be basically, what type of creators are you going to support? What are your requirements? What requirements must a project meet to be approved for funding under our fund? And why are we a good person to run that fund? And I'm very interested. I mean, it seems like a very good opportunity. It's not just about the getting out, but the putting in as well. We're looking for passionate leaders who are deeply embedded in their creative community, not just fans, but active participants and connectors. To be approved, you need to show us that you are a respected member of this world and have the influence to bring projects and supporters together. Well, that's exactly what the Minds Gaming community is about, isn't it?
Well, everybody's a big fish in their own pond. I mean, that's what any community should be about, really. I get the impression from that they're looking for movers and shakers. They want names. They want, are you serious?
Oh.
You know, I mean, it sounds like they're looking for somebody who already has connections and is doing things. Not like unknowns. Maybe I'm misreading it, or I missed something about it. But it's like, you know, I take it they're asking for leaders for the artisan community,
No.
and so they.
No,
Oh no! For what community are they looking?
Our community. The title of our fund. Short, clear title that immediately conveys the focus of our fund.
Oh, I thought this was something they were looking for.
No, they will support us. They will support us to establish a fund for our community. So what type of creators will your fund support? What requirements must projects meet to be approved for funding? Well, I suppose what they need to be a part of the MTCG community, right?
Here we go. We're looking for passionate leaders. All right, so this is when they're talking directly to you. We are looking for passionate leaders who are deeply embedded in their creative community, not just fans, but active participants and actors. We approve you need to show us that you're a member of this world and have the influence to bring projects and supporters together. I don't know what they mean by this world.
This
and
community,
have the influence.
The MTCG community.
Okay, not the whole thing. And they're pushing to bring projects and supporters together. In other words, you have to make money. You have to be able to bring in supporters is a nice way of saying customers. And so you have to have the influence to bring projects and customers together. So that's a big thing to be able to do. Like I was saying, not just getting art in front of people, but having them say, I want to buy that art. You know, I spent years selling art. It's not easy.
No. But you did say you were interested in a funding thing, and I came to Artisan to try and get funding. But this opportunity to create.
What happens when you? Yeah, I'm looking at this, and the impression I get is, all right, this creates a fund. And then you join all those other funds on the page. That's what this is about, right?
Those things
this is the creation.
Yes, that we were looking at.
Okay.
So that page that I think I showed you, well, I showed you two pages. I showed you one of the project. I tried to show you one of the projects that were applying. And then there's another page which shows the funds that are there.
Okay. So this is an application to set up. Okay, I see. I thought this was like something like an application for a job at Artisan. I misunderstood.
Oh no!
Okay, I see. All right. What's Artisan Accelerator? That looks interesting.
Shall we look at that? Receive up to 10,000. Are you seeing this?
I'm not seeing it. No, hasn't gone over.
Let's go here. Let's get out. This is less easy than the Teams one. The Teams one is nice.
Teams is much superior to me in many ways. I
think we might use it if it's going to be you and I. I think.
If it's just going to be us doing this, yes. Do it for all our other stuff.
Now, do you see it?
This is where the action is. So you fill out that original thing. Please give me money. I want to have a fund. And then they consider who's actually going to get. I mean, not that you can't get things going with your little thing there, but this is where you're actually getting some real fundage from these guys.
You're not just getting fundage.
I wonder. $10,000.
You're getting a 12-week program to give you tools, funding, and mentorship to support your community.
And receive up to $10,000. Yeah, they'll give you all that stuff.
So that might be 1,000, right?
Right. But the important thing is the money. You know, money is the one thing that's always lacking. I know a lot of guys with drive and talent and this and that, but it's all about money. And there's very little of it in the world right now. So this means that passing this test is the way you get the fund. So you've got to figure out what they want. They're going to have things that they like. things they have more of a predilection for, and things that are going to be like kryptonite to them.
Yes.
So, yeah, so this is interesting because this is where you want to study and figure out what it is they're looking for here at this level. Because everything else is just like it's like going on the mines without getting the mines plus. You know, you got to get up here in order to. This is where the action's happening. So what I would do is research who they've been giving this to, if they've given it to anyone. That's always important too. I have seen sites where it's like, we're going to give you this, and it turns out nobody actually ever gets the $10,000. There's like 100 given here or there. Find out how much they've given and who they've given it to. Study what they do, and you can get an idea of how you can present your project. So, I don't know, just a thought off the top of my head.
They're very transparent about it, and it's all laid out here. And I believe that Renee is on Minds there. So, and he's very accessible, and he runs these weekly meetings on X as well. And one of the things he offers on X is for you to have a session with him where he'll roast your project and tell you like your presentation. You give him the presentation and he'll give you an absolute honest assessment. I've listened to him do a few of them, and he does. He's very good at giving critique. You know, he talks about things like lighting and presentation and speed of delivery and all sorts of really pro tips. Well, I mean, I haven't watched many of the presentations, only 2 or 3. But I'm very impressed with his professionalism and the way he's very committed to distributing these funds. What he's done is that he's collected together people who want to donate, and he's sort of centralized the whole process. And then, he's sort of the middleman. I don't know, is that the word? Yeah.
In a sense, a facilitator.
Yeah, facilitator. Yeah,
that's what I do. Yeah, facilitate. Yeah.
So I just think that might be something really interesting to make an MTCG fund. I know that MintMe is a crypto platform, and there's that.
Well, you'd have to find somebody to prove their leadership, someone to convince them that they're a pillar of their creative community and energy. And vision to be.
Otto, aren't you a creative
I am
pillar?
a tag along
well-respected
in the MTCG.
member.
I am a tag
No, don't start trying to get out of it.
I am a bobdub tag along. Wagging your tail behind me. Here I come.
Otto,
you know.
Otto, just stop there. Who made your icon for you? Who made your icon on MintMe?
Oh, yes, Mike did. It was very nice of him. I think he would be the leader.
I don't think that he has time to be the leader. I think that he's looking for people like us who would be prepared to give him that sort of support.
I'm happy to support. I think you should be the leader.
Of course you do.
I'll be your assistant leader.
Of course.
Well, you know, I've got the season starting soon. In just a couple of weeks, I'm going to be back at work, and I'm already, doing other jobs and stuff. So I'm not going to have a lot of time and even less energy to be doing all of these things that Renee's going on about being a pillar and two-fisted artistic action, blood on the floor. Yeah. I have my moments, but I'm not sure if I would be up to doing this every single day, all summer long. It's a lot. It's a big bite. I don't know if I could chew it all. So I would hesitate before undertaking. And we've had conversations like this before where you said, Otto, jump into this. And I'm like, I know my limitations. And I sometimes have to say no to things because I'm not going to be able to do it. And I don't like to try to do things. If I say I'm going to do something, I try to do it. And that's why I qualify everything a lot, because there's so much out of my control.
The reason why I haven't joined this program is exactly what you're saying.
Exactly. You too share my wisdom.
Yeah, supporting Do Better's project and doing the stuff for him and the stuff that we've been hoping to do for Navakavada, the videos that we've done together and planned to do together, and
Yeah. Got caught in the crossfire to work on. The Eagle's Nest is coming up.
Yes, we'll do that.
Just did that talk on evolution and.
Yes. The reading of the Ember stories, and now the animating each chapter of the animate, which is generating all the images and then animating the images that I've generated and then putting them together in the video appropriately. We don't have the time to
jump through these hoops and maybe get like $20 down the road or something.
Yes, whatever but $10,000 is a different.
Up to 10,000, yes, but they're not going to give you 10,000. Otherwise, it wouldn't say.
However,
we'd probably get a couple hundred, if at that. But I'll make that in a day working this summer, and I'll send it to you. I'll give you a day's pay, and I think we'll get as much as we would. Again, it's great and it's cool, and for kids that are like don't have jobs and are just sitting around in their parents' basement, or they're just like unemployed artistic types, it's great. They can sit here and do that. You see the thing where you commit to this for so many hours a week and this, and I was looking at all those things and I'm like, no, not me. I'm too old. If I was 20 again and could die on 2 hours sleep and had all that energy and angst, but all I've got left is the angst.
I'm thinking about filling in the form.
Yeah.
This is my usual strategy for planning my adventures. So I think, what will happen when I fill in this form? I'm not thinking about sitting around for hours and hours and hours in my mother's basement. It does say a 3-month accelerator program. Selected participants will engage in a structured program designed to help them successfully launch and manage their community fund. That would be interesting to know, like, is it 1 meeting a month for 3 months, or 1 meeting every single day, or 3 full months of university level training? I mean, what are you actually committing to?
Yeah. It'll probably be something like, Do Better's or Jolly's boot camp there. Do Better. Sitting down with someone online, going over stuff. And probably getting some very good information too. But again, it's for somebody that has more time. I mean, we're too busy working on all our different projects and stuff. Yeah. These are,
however,
part of this.
There might be somebody. Do you know what? If we started the fund and if we were interested in, I'm not quite sure how you'd do it. I have
We've got so much to do, though. We've got so much to do. You're already saying that you can't do it, but we'll do it anyway. We'll just set it up and maybe
Okay. I will stop sharing the screen right now.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, we discussed it, and we both agreed that neither of us can do it, and we both agreed that nobody else in the group is going to have the timer. I mean, Satori would be great for it, but he's working.
Very busy.
And Mike would be great for it, and he's working, he's writing, and you and I are working. And this is obviously not a program for people that are working. It's for people that want to work. Unless they're doing a job where they can spend 70 hours a week. I don't know. It's cool, but it's for young men or young women. People that can sit around, college kids that are living off their student loans or whatever.
Maybe there's somebody watching, Otto. Maybe there's somebody watching this program that might be very interested. Otto,
maybe they should check it out.
I'm going to just cut you all out. I'm going to cut every single thing of you saying something negative out.
Hello to all our fans, and thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you very much for watching.
I'm going to be watching it again. I'm going to be editing and watching it all the way through. So don't diss me.
Do it with you. Yes, bro. I know. I'll probably be doing it with you.
I beg your pardon. When do you do it with me? I do it on my own.
I've sat while you edited before.
You have. Once or twice.
I have. A few times. More than once, more than twice, more than 3 times. I won't go past.
Restructure reality.
I don't have your photographic memory, so I can't.
Photographic memory. My photographic memory is one of the
I've got a
that sort of like fades in and out of exposure. Sometimes the exposure.
Yeah. No, I've got a daguerreotype memory. I've got to stare at it for a long time. Like we take the camera thing off. Or a friend of mine that does like daguerreotypes and tintypes and stuff like that.
Otto, talking about the show and the thing and all the things that we're meant to be doing and the editing.
Yes.
We're meant to be doing a Dude, Where's My Wallet?
That's what this was. Dude, where's my wallet?
This is
Suddenly.
Quantum Gathering, old man.
Oh, right. Well, you've got the script then? Ready?
Are we? No.
That's right, we were going to write the script here live
We were
on
going
camera.
to write the script live on camera, Otto.
Well, since nobody's here, we could just do the show all over again and just do that.
What do you mean? What do you mean nobody's here? I'm here.
Well,
do
nobody's here besides us.
You! Is
You
that
know
what you're saying?
that was a rhetorical statement. It was not meant literally.
No, I'm wounded now. I'm wounded.
I can tell. Deeply wounded.
Are we going to attempt to do a Dude, Where's My Wallet, or are we going to...
We need a script.
Okay. I think that since... First we go here.
Now, does it have to be a part 2 or a part 3 since we've already done a part 2?
Well, how can there be anything that's a part? Anything of anything? Have we done a part 1 or 2 of ourselves? There are those outlines of the Navakavada scripts. They're probably way too complicated for us to delve into, aren't they?
For 2 people? I don't know. Anything's possible with the large language models. Gave them like the first script and say, do this for 2 actors and a narrator.
We would like you to generate us a Dude, Where's My Wallet episode for Otto the Renegade Sage and bobdub. Everyone else has been called away. Dan is busy trying to steal the singularity in the grey area. Vinny the barkeeper still on the road, pedaling north along the east coast. Mike?
I got to run out to my car real quick to get something I just remembered. I'll be right back.
Okay.
It's looking good. Good thing I took my keys with me because I locked the door behind me. I have to be careful of that.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
Well, the thing is, and this is the thing, I had my phone in my pocket, and I could have called Hells, and she can open the door from where she is, which is Chicago.
Interesting.
So, the thing is, she usually crashes early. Yeah, otherwise, because I don't know her number otherwise, so I couldn't even, go to the neighbors, so... And all the doors, I usually keep things locked up, because that's just the kind of guy I am. If I'm inside somewhere, I lock the doors. I mean... But I did have the keys on me. That was good. I did good. Because I closed the door behind me, went click, I'm like, oh. I do have my keys. Good. I've been worried about that every time I'm here, not to lock myself out, because that's one of the most embarrassing things. The dog is yelling at me, come on in, come on in. I'm like, I would if I could, guys.
Dude, where's my script? Come, is there anything else you want to put into the script?
Let's see here. Dan is trying to steal the singularity in the grave. I don't know if there's something. Okay, that looks pretty good. The discussion is okay. See, if it was listening to us, it could base it on our previous discussion.
It is listening to us.
So
this is all we need to put in, and it'll put everything else in for us, I'm fairly sure.
Sounds good.
But is there anything you would like it to say? Or shall we just see what it comes up with if we give it this?
I think you pretty much got it covered. Zany, fast-paced episode. Yeah, that looks good. Let's go with it. I'm happy.
You're always
Brum,
happy.
brum, brum. Although they were talking a bit about Rhodesia in the Discord the other
We're
day,
not
but
going to even say it with the R word. We're not going to say
I'm not.
that. We have
But I
been
did not tag
in
you.
enough.
I didn't because here obviously, but in the Discord I was like, no, I'm not forcing Roberta to interact, even though I see something where I'm sure she would have a very interesting perspective on. I'm just gonna leave her be. She pokes her head in there once in a great while.
She does poke her head in there once in a great while.
Yeah. The base 1000 reenactment banner. Otto's metaphysical hamster wheel.
Where is this? Where it is?
I had no idea. It's what visuals for this episode I can render. The base 1000 reenactment banner. Otto's metaphysical hamster. I've never heard the wheel of Dharma called a metaphysical hamster wheel. I'm gonna save this and share this on the Discord because this is just.
Welcome to the point of gathering. Our minds unite. People, flattery. Step into the realm.